Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. It started when I was 14, the year everything changed. The year my dad lost his job, and we moved into my grandmother's old house after she died, somewhere out in rural Vermont, where the air felt heavy even in summer, and the nights seemed to stretch longer than they should. The house was massive, old, and creaked like it was breathing. My room was upstairs at the end of a long hallway with faded floral wallpaper and a cracked mirror nailed to the wall halfway down. I didn't think much of it first. It was just a mirror, tall, wide, slightly tilted forward, like it was always leaning in to watch you. The first time I saw her, I was on my way to brush my teeth. I passed the mirror like always, my bare feet soft on the wooden floorboards, when I caught something off. I took 2 steps back and looked into the glass. There I was, and right beside me, a girl. She stood about my age, with pale skin that looked like it hadn't seen the sun in years, black tangled hair that hung in strings across her face, and eyes, God, those eyes. Empty, not just sad or hollow. Empty, like someone had scooped out her soul and left behind 2 tunnels of blackness. She didn't move, didn't blink. She just stared at me through the mirror, like she'd been waiting. I ran, slipped on the hallway rug, and bolted back to my room, slamming the door and shoving the desk in front of it, like she could somehow crawl out of the glass. When I told my parents the next morning, they barely looked up from their coffee. "You've been under stress," my mom said, folding laundry on the couch. "It's an old house," my dad added. "Tricks of the light. Mirrors play games." But it wasn't a game. Not to me. That night, I tried not to look as I passed the hallway mirror, but my eyes betrayed me. I glanced, and there she was again. Same spot, same dead stare. This time she smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It wasn't human. It stretched too far, like her skin didn't know how to stop at the right places. I screamed. My dad came running, furious. He turned me around, forced me to look into the mirror. She was gone, just me and my red face and my trembling mouth. "She's not real," he said sharply. "Don't let your imagination win." But I knew what I saw, and I started avoiding that hallway completely. I'd run past it, holding my breath, staring at the floor. Sometimes I'd hear soft knocking from behind the glass. Other times, whispers, not words, just something like breath and syllables trying to form. About a week later, I woke up in the middle of the night. My room was freezing. I remember the goosebumps running on my arms. My window was closed tight, but the air felt like winter. I turned over, heart pounding, and looked across the room. There was a mirror on my wall, the full-length kind. I had never really noticed it before, but now I saw her, in the reflection, standing right behind me, my breath caught in my throat. I couldn't move. She was inches from my neck in the mirror, but when I spun around, nothing. Just my desk, my books, the silence. I didn't sleep the rest of the night, and from that day forward, I kept a sheet over every mirror in the house. Every single one. My parents didn't say much. I think they were too caught up in their own problems. Dad drank more. Mom cried quietly in the laundry room when she thought I wasn't listening. I wondered if the house was doing something to all of us. 2 months before I turned 16, my aunt visited. She stayed in the guest room, right across from the hallway mirror. That night, I heard her get up to use the bathroom. Then I heard her scream, not just scared, but terrified. I ran out and found her on the floor, pale as a ghost, clutching her chest. She, she was in the mirror, she whispered. That was the last time she visited. I finally moved out at 18, left for college on the other side of the country, and never went back. My parents sold a house to some family from New Jersey. I never asked what happened to them. I didn't want to know. But here's the thing. You think running away fixes everything. You think new cities and bright lights and dorm rooms full of noise will drown out the past. But it doesn't. Because sometimes, when I pass a window at night, when I catch a glimpse of myself in the black screen of my phone before it lights up, or in the shiny surface of a coffee pot, I see her. Not always fully, not every time, but sometimes, just out of the corner of my eye, she's still there, watching, waiting, and now she smiles more often. Story 2. When my brother Josh died, the world didn't just stop. It folded in on itself. I was 17, just a kid trying to figure out who I was, and suddenly the person who helped me laugh through the darkest days was gone. One careless drunk driver, one rainy night, and everything changed. The call came in at 2:37 a.m. My mom screamed like I'd never heard anyone scream before. Dad collapsed into the kitchen chair, staring at nothing. And me? I just stood there, holding my phone, praying it was some kind of mistake. But it wasn't. Josh was 21. He had just graduated from college. His life was beginning. Mine had shattered into silence. 3 weeks after the funeral, the house still felt wrong. Too quiet, too clean. My parents were staying with my aunt in another town for a while, trying to breathe without choking on memories. I volunteered to stay behind. Said someone should watch the house. The truth, I didn't want to let go. Josh's smell still lingered on the couch. His dirty sneakers still sat by the door like he might walk in any second. The first night alone, I couldn't sleep. I wandered into his room and sat on his bed. The sheets were still wrinkled from the last time he slept in them. I pulled his hoodie around me, buried my face in it, and cried so hard my chest hurt. Eventually I passed out. Then came the voice. It was 3 in the morning when I heard it, low and calm, just like always. "Ryan, come here quick." I jolted upright. I must have dreamed it, I thought. My heart was hammering so hard I felt in my throat. I stood slowly, my ears straining in the silence. Nothing. I walked back to my room, and just as I reached the door, I heard it again. "Ryan, I'm in the garage." That voice, it wasn't just similar. It was exactly how Josh used to call me when he needed help finding something, or when he wanted to prank me with one of his stupid rubber spiders. My stomach turned cold. It wasn't possible. He was dead. We had buried him. But something inside me, some leftover thread of hope, pulled me toward the stairs. The house was so quiet. Every step echoed like thunder. When I reached the garage door, my hand hovered over the doorknob. I was shaking. I couldn't stop. "Josh," I whispered. No answer. I opened the door. The garage was dark, only lit by the weak yellow bulb overhead. It buzzed slightly, like it was on its last leg. And there, hanging on the far wall, was his jacket. The one he wore the night he died. The one the police returned to us, stained and torn. Only it looked brand new. I stepped inside, slowly. My foot hit the cold concrete. The door swung shut behind me with a bang, so loud I jumped and screamed. The light flickered once, twice, and then I heard breathing. Slow, heavy, right behind me. I spun around. Nothing, but the breathing continued. It wasn't mine. I was holding my breath. It was coming from inches away. I backed into the corner, my eyes darting across every shadow, every tool hanging from the wall. My skin crawled, and my mouth went dry. Then, without thinking, I whispered, "I miss you." And the breathing stopped, just like that. No dramatic exit, no gust of wind, no vanishing shadows. It was just gone. I stood there for what felt like an hour before I could move. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even go back upstairs. I sat in the hallway with every light on until the sun came up. When I finally worked up the nerve to check the garage again, the door creaked, opened slowly. The light bulb had burned out completely, and the jacket, it was gone. I searched the entire garage. I even dug through old boxes and shelves. Nothing. That day, I called my mom and asked her to come home. I didn't tell her why. For weeks, I tried to convince myself it was a dream. Grief can do weird things. It twists your mind, blurs the edges of reality. That's what I told myself. Until last week, I found Josh's old phone in a drawer. It was dead. I charged it up, hoping to see photos, hear his voice again. There were messages, drafts, old notes, and one recording, a voice memo titled simply Garage. I hit play, and what I heard was me saying, "I miss you," followed by his voice, clear as day. "I miss you too, little bro." And then the sound of breathing. I deleted it. I don't know why. I panicked. But every night now, at 3 a.m., I hear soft knocks on the garage door. I don't answer. I won't. Because even though I miss him more than anything, that thing in the garage wasn't my brother. Story 3. My aunt's house stood alone on a stretch of land, so quiet it felt forgotten. Miles of fields on every side. The closest neighbor a flicker of chimney smoke on the horizon. I had just turned 20, and when she asked me to house sit while she visited my uncle in Florida, I figured it'd be easy. Feed the cat, water the plants, keep the house from looking abandoned. In return, I get a peaceful place to read, write, and just disconnect. I arrived on a rainy Thursday evening. The gravel driveway hissed under my tires. Her old farmhouse was a tall, weather-beaten thing, white paint peeling off like sunburned skin, windows staring like blind eyes. It smelled like lavender, dust, and old wood. Before leaving, my aunt had only one rule. Just one. If someone knocks after midnight, she said, pausing as if choosing her words carefully, don't answer the door. She looked me dead in the eyes when she said it. No smirk, no trace of a joke. Her hand was gripping her suitcase handle so tight I could see her knuckles. I laughed, thinking it was a country superstition. You know, the kind of folklore old folks pass down to keep kids scared and obedient. Ghosts and ghoulies and don't go in the woods kind of thing. But she didn't laugh. She only said, don't answer, no matter how polite the knock sounds. Then she got in her car and drove away. That first night was uneventful. I explored the house a little. 2 floors, creaky stairs, a tiny attic with a padlock on it. I fed Marmalade, her fat orange cat, then curled up with a book and fell asleep on the couch. It was silent. so silent I could hear the fridge humming like a distant bee. Second night was when it started. I had just gone to bed around midnight, maybe a little after. My room was on the second floor, at the end of a narrow hallway. I was scrolling on my phone when I heard it. 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Measured. Calm. At the front door. I froze. My heart started tapping in sync with the knocks. I didn't move. The house held its breath with me. After maybe 30 seconds, the knocking stopped. No footsteps. No doors creaking. Just silence again. I told myself it was nothing. Probably an animal. A loose shutter. A branch. But I remembered what my aunt said. I didn't sleep much that night. The third night, it happened again. 1:07 a.m. 3 knocks. This time, slower. Heavier. I crept downstairs, barefoot. The wood floor moaned under me. I made it to the front door and looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just the empty porch and the skeletal tree by the gate swaying in the wind. I waited. Nothing moved. But when I turned around to head back upstairs, I heard something faint. A whisper? A breath? No, just my imagination. Had to be. Fourth night, things got worse. The knocking didn't come from the front door this time. 1:04 a.m. It came from the back door. Same rhythm. Knock, knock, knock. I sat up in bed, heart already sprinting. Then came the second set, from the side door by the laundry room. Knock, knock, knock. Then from the living room window. I didn't know what to do. My phone was on the kitchen counter, downstairs. I climbed out of bed, creeping down the steps in total darkness, hoping Marmalade would stay asleep. When I reached the living room, I ducked behind the couch and lay flat on the floor. I tried to control my breathing. My chest felt like it might crack open. Knock, knock, knock. This time, right above my head. On the window. I didn't dare look. I stayed there for what felt like hours. The knocking moved around the house. Door to window. Window to wall. Like something circling. Testing. Knock, knock, knock. Then it stopped. But I waited another hour before I moved. When I finally stood, the living room window had a single smudge, a long, greasy print like a hand had pressed against the glass. But the window was 6 feet off the ground. Fifth night, I didn't sleep at all. I stayed downstairs, every light on, a kitchen knife in my hand like it would make any difference. No knocks came, but at 1:10 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. It's rude not to answer. I dropped the phone. My stomach twisted. My mouth went dry. I didn't reply. I couldn't. That morning, I packed my things. I didn't care if it was my last day or not. I couldn't stay another night. I sat in the car till sunrise, then drove to town and waited in a coffee shop until my aunt returned. When she walked in, I must have looked like hell. She didn't ask questions, just looked at me with those same tired eyes and said, "You didn't open it. That's good. The last sitter did." She trailed off, sat down beside me. We never found her, just the door wide open. No signs of a struggle. No footprints in the snow. Nothing. I stared at her, trying to form a thought, a word, anything. She leaned in and whispered, "It comes when the house is alone, when it feels no one belongs here." I never went back. She sold the house 6 months later, said it didn't feel right anymore. Sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment, I still get the urge to check the locks. And every now and then, right around 1 a.m., I swear I hear 3 slow knocks, but I never, ever answer. Story 4. It started a year ago, quietly. At first, I thought it was just one of those things. You know, those odd sleep cycles where you jolt awake for no reason. But it always happened at the same time. 3:14 a.m. every single night. At first, I'd brush it off. I'd wake up gasping, heart pounding, a strange pressure in my chest like I'd been holding my breath underwater. But there were no dreams, no nightmares, just the dark ceiling above me, the steady tick of the old wall clock, and that awful silence that feels like it's listening to you. Weeks passed. I stopped checking the clock, but deep down I still knew. I'd wake, look around the dark room, try to convince myself it was just stress or too much caffeine before bed. But that time would always creep into my mind. 3:14 a.m. The numbers felt burned into me, like a secret I wasn't supposed to know. Then one night, I couldn't move. I've never had sleep paralysis before, never even really believed in it. But that night, I woke up and found myself frozen. My eyes were open, my body felt like stone. I was fully awake, mind racing, screaming internally. I couldn't lift a finger, and that's when I saw it. A tall figure, thin, twitching. It stood at the foot of my bed like it had always been there, like it belonged. Its limbs jerked subtly, like a puppet being pulled too hard by invisible strings. I couldn't see its face. No eyes, no mouth. Just a vague outline of a body, darker than the night around it. Not black void. It didn't just absorb light, it rejected it. Then it moved. It didn't walk or crawl. It just glitched, like a video skipping frames. 1 second it was by the footboard. The next, it was beside me. I felt the bed dip slightly, like someone had leaned on it. A breeze, ice cold, brushed my face. Then it spoke. No words, just a low, wet static sound that buzzed directly into my ears, like a broken radio submerged in water. I felt the vibration in my skull. It wasn't just speaking to me. It was speaking inside me. And then it was gone. No slow fade. No walking away. Just gone, like it was never there. The moment it disappeared, I could move again. I jumped up, flicked on every light in the room, and didn't sleep the rest of the night. I kept the lights on for a week after that. I was scared to blink, let alone close my eyes. But every night at 3:14 a.m., I'd feel something shift in the air, like the room took a breath that wasn't mine. So I set up my phone. Simple setup. Just propped it up across the room, facing the bed. I didn't expect anything. Honestly, I hoped there'd be nothing. Just me tossing and turning. I thought maybe I'd snore or mutter in my sleep. Anything but that. The first night, nothing. Second night, my blankets moved slightly. Could have been me. Third night, the video froze for 3 seconds at 3:14 a.m. It just stopped, then resumed like nothing happened. My battery was full. No notifications. No technical glitches. Just frozen time. Then came night 4. I didn't watch the video right away. Something in me hesitated, like I knew what I was going to see. When I finally pressed play, everything looked normal at first. Me asleep on the bed, twitching now and then, quiet breathing, darkness. Then, at exactly 3:14 and 2 seconds a.m., the camera jolted. It didn't fall. It didn't get hit. It just shook violently for a split second. The lens blurred. and then the frame caught something. A shape, floating, above my bed. It was there for 6 seconds. Not standing, not sitting, hovering, right above me, inches from my sleeping face. Long limbs hanging down like ropes, its head cocked at an unnatural angle. Like a question mark made of shadows. No face, no features, just nothing. But the part that made my blood freeze. My face moved. I didn't wake up. I didn't stir. But my lips parted slightly, like I was whispering, or maybe responding. 6 seconds. That's all. Then it was gone. I didn't sleep that night, or the night after. I moved out of that room completely. Slept on the couch with the TV on, a kitchen knife under my pillow like that could protect me from whatever that thing was. I've never gone back into that bedroom. It's still there, exactly the way I left it. Door shut, lights off. That room doesn't feel like it belongs in my house anymore. Like it's not part of this world. I still have a video, but I haven't watched it again. I never made it past the 6 second mark because there's something I didn't tell you. Right before the figure disappeared, right before the video cuts to black, it looked at the camera and smiled.